Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a fun little precognitive exercise called the traffic light. So I have to give full credit to my coach, Karen Fox, for this exercise. I learned it at the Aspen program for psychic development, and it's a pretty fun one to be able to predict the future or just ask a question about something you're trying to decide on. Maybe it's a decision, maybe you're trying to weigh different options, maybe it's a yes or no question, but this is sort of an exercise for those simpler things that you want to ask. So what you'll need is a piece of paper, a pencil or pen, and then you want to have three colors: red, green, and yellow. This is basically a visualization technique that you can use with your psychic abilities, and you're going to imagine a traffic light in your mind's eye, and you're going to ask a question and then see what color you get. Obviously, red means like not so good, maybe not the best time, or not a good decision. Green is sort of the opposite: really good time, really good decision, good option. And then yellow is sort of the in-between, so-so. So to start, you're just going to write down a few questions. They could be yes or no questions. Maybe try one where you're just like weighing two different options. But go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to do one of each. I'm going to do a question about what does the day Thursday look like for me, and then I'm going to do two different options. I'm going to ask if I should buy a black boot or a brown boot, because maybe that's something I want to do in the future. And then I'm going to ask just a more general question just to see the difference. And that's going to be, what do I need to know about this person that I just met? So after you have your questions, what you're going to want to do is go ahead and get into a meditative state, whatever that looks like for you. Make sure that you set your boundaries, that you're talking to things of your highest and best good. I don't go over that in every single video because I hope that you're doing that anyways. And if you want to learn more about how to do that, check out my basic psychic skills course. I mean, it's very important that, you're not asking these questions of a negative energy, and that when you're done doing this type of exercise that you don't have anything following you. You just want to make sure that you're protected. I also, in that course, go over how to get into a meditative state, how to get into a centered place where you're receiving psychic information. You're not worried about the grocery list that you have to do later today. It's very important that you get into this zone to receive information. And if you just rush into this without actually getting your mind into a psychic zone, turning on your psychic ability, then you're just going to kind of jump into it, and you're not sure if you're using your analytical mind or your intuitive mind. So make sure that you're in this place once you get started. So let's pretend I've done that already. And so what you're going to do is you can focus on an area in front of you. You could close your eyes, and what you want to do is visualize a traffic light. So visualize all three lights in your head, but imagine them off. And then what you want to do is look at your question, ask your question, and expect the traffic light to light up one of the lights. After you ask your question, go with your gut. What's the first thing you get? Go ahead and pick up your marker. You can draw that color underneath that question. Now, if you guys have done some of my clair exercises, you might also pay attention to which clair you're receiving it with. So you might see the colors, or you might hear the colors. You could also feel a color. You might just know right away. So there's different ways that you can receive these psychic hits, or these intuitive hits. And knowing which clair you're receiving it with will just help you get a little bit more practice and a little bit more honed. So there's no right or wrong way, is sort of my point here. So if somebody sees it but you heard it, you're not doing it wrong. You're just receiving it through a different clair. And go ahead and write down any other gut feelings that you get here. So you might see a color, but then you might hear other things, or you might see another word, or you might get a visual image of what the answer is about. So for example, if I ask, what does my day look like tomorrow? And I get the color green, but then I also see bubbles, then just write it down. Don't analyze it, don't judge it yet. Just write down everything that you could get. And while you're in the moment, if you get a symbol, or if you get an image or a word or something that you don't understand, go further. Don't stop, and don't pull back and analyze with your left brain analytical mind. We want to analyze with our right brain, our intuitive sense. So you want to go back to the psychic source, ask the psychic source, why am I seeing bubbles? What does this mean? and write down the first things that you get. And just know that some of the things you could be getting are literal, or it could also be a symbol. The first couple times you do this, you might just get colors, but the more and more you practice, the more you might get additional information about your questions. If you want to take this even one step further, if you guys have been practicing with your clairs, you can do these questions individually with each clair. So you can go through this list of questions and only focus on clairvoyance. So you're only saying, hey, traffic light, I want to see the answer. So if you start hearing a word or if you start feeling the answer, you say, nope, I'm only doing clairvoyance right now. And when you tell your mind that, you're basically practicing that clair and that clair only. And so this is a great way to also just hone a specific clair. Say your clairsentience is not that good. Tell your guides, as you're doing these questions, no, I only want to do clairsentience right now. I want to feel the answers. And that might seem a little odd with the colors, but you could feel really hot. And then you might be like, oh, you know what? Maybe heat is that red, and maybe cool is green or something like that. And so this is just a great exercise to not only answer like yes or no questions, but it's also great for honing those clairs and going deeper and figuring out more information without using tarot cards, without using any sort of tools as a crutch. This is you and your intuitive mind only. So as I was doing this, I was writing down what I got, but I was also writing down how I got it, just to help stop and be like, oh, how am I getting this? And being aware of my clairs. Just being aware of them and how you're receiving them can help you start to separate them out more and understand where your strengths and your weaknesses are. And then I was also going back and asking, when I saw the symbol of the grass, for example, what does that mean? And then I heard get outside. One thing you can do with this exercise is that if you aren't a big fan of the traffic light itself, you can change this to any sort of image in your brain. Another popular one that my coach taught me was using a flower. So for example, you can ask the flower ahead of time, show me what yes means. And maybe the flower blooms in your mind. Ask it what no means, and then it wilts or it dies or it turns a different color. And so you can ask your guides to sort of set a symbol with you and show you what the differences mean. You have to make sure those are set ahead of time of what's yes, what's no, or what's really awesome, not awesome, so-so. And you can use any image in your brain, and what's great is that you can have this tool at any time during any of your readings. You know, you don't need tarot cards, you don't need any of these crazy tools. You can come and you can use this symbol technique during a reading to figure out an answer to a question. Now, I feel like I really only use this for yes or no questions or things that I'm really struggling with, but once you get going, you'll start to realize you don't quite need the light bulbs or any of the symbols. The more you exercise your clairs, the easier and faster they come. So you'll be able to skip the colors and you'll be able to just get the answers and the symbols right away. But this is a great introductory technique that you can start using, and it's fun because you can use different colors and just get creative with it. So if you really enjoyed this exercise, you guys should check out my precognitive calendar video. Basically, I walk you through how to guess what your next month is going to look like, and I do have a corner in each of the days for you to basically use this traffic light technique. So again, if you want to go a little bit further than some of these introductory exercises, check out my course, Basic Psychic Skills. I go into more detail on how to do a reading, how to use your clairs, and how to go deeper and get more information so you don't have to rely on outside tools to start getting intuitive hits. Please let me know in the comments below how you guys did with this technique, if it was easy, if it was hard, if you decided to change it to a different symbol like a flower or even like a moon and a sun. I absolutely love this. This is just great for getting your intuitive ability a little bit brushed off and get the dust off of it and kind of get it working again. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in my next video, and always remember, you guys, at the end of the day, to trust your intuition.